Hello everyone and welcome to our next episode of 27 Questions for Global Earthers. I'm of course Olaf, and let's continue. We left off at question 6 and we do now go on question 7. Please note that I skipped parts in the middle there where they talked about the presentation, because again I'm mostly here to answer the questions, not to comment on everything they do. So yeah, let's keep on going.
So yeah, I think
Also, do forgive my voice today. If it might be a bit rough. I had we had a sports event yesterday, and it was pretty loud there everywhere. So I do apologize.
Bal has got some very big shoes to fill here if he's going to demonstrate gas pressure without a containment. Phil, maybe you can get it right to make no containment used for this demonstration. But looking forward to it, yeah. Okay, guys, ready for the next question?
Yes, that's why I'm here.
I think we've made it very clear. It violates natural law.
It doesn't, but
Okay,
you know.
number 7. How does a gyroscope process 15 degrees an hour in free space? Keyword here, Globies, free space.
It doesn't.
Do you understand what that means? It means it's in free space. It cannot show any rotation, no precession, because you're claiming the processing is due to the Earth's rotation. So
Yes.
if it's in free space, there shouldn't be any processing at all because it's not connected to anything.
That's true. If the gyroscope wasn't on Earth, it'll probably not show much of any precession. Within uncertainties, within errors, of course, because no measurement device is perfect. It might still show a precession of 0.00 something degrees an hour, but that's an artifact really of how accurately you can measure stuff, right? Now a gyroscope on Earth turns with 15 degrees an hour. It's actually slightly below. It's like 14.9 something. Because, well, Earth's rotating whether you like it or not. And in free space, if you were to take the gyroscope and you put it, I don't know, let's say 500 kilometers up, so very much in space, it wouldn't show much of any precession, of course, unless it's turning, because it has some angular momentum, because you didn't put it there like quote unquote still, you know what I mean? But like, other than that, a gyroscope would not measure any precession if it is in free space. But Earth is hardly free space as it rotates.
So I think that's just a kind of very cut and dry question. How do you get
I agree.
into the process 15 degrees an hour in free space? You guys have anything to say on this?
Well, Earth is not free space, and thus it can very much measure that. If it was in absolute free space, which again, absolute free space is a bit of a strange thing because it barely exists. Like, conceptually, you can call some parts of space practically free, but it's not like completely free. But let's not get bogged down into details. Yeah.
Hey, Godzilla37, thank you very much for your $5 super chat. He says, press 1 in chat if globe is BS. Press 2 if you're full. That's a good one. Press 1, guys. I'm going to press 1 as well.
I do believe
what the hell?
that is not relevant to answer the question. Do they talk about more about the question?
To say it right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's
thank you again for the super chat.
As you said, it's a cut and dry question, I believe.
Because I actually had a friend in school whose name was Phil. This Phil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question,
JT
please.
says an open-ended cylinder is not closed, open or closed.
No shit. An open-ended cylinder is open, not closed. Honestly, come on.
Oh man, the fact we have gas pressure, people, means we are contained in a dynamic closed system.
That's not true.
Simple stuff, guys.
You keep saying that, but that's you kind of try to you make up a law there that is gas pressure requires containment. You make up that law without any kind of evidence whatsoever, especially not evidence that goes like above very small scales. And then you go and say, we have gas pressure, therefore there has to be a container that builds up on something that you made up. Essentially, it's something that some flat earthers make up things, and just by them stating it, it's essentially a law now. That's how I think sometimes that works. You say it because you've said it, it's true now, and so you can infer stuff on that. But that's just not how that works, and it's easy to see. Also, in space, there's also gas pressure. It's just very tiny. I talked about that in the other thing. Let's not.
And it can be demonstrated every day of the week.
Exactly. You won't be able to.
Could you show me, please?
If we didn't.
Exactly. Yeah, try having a coffee without a cup, Nathan. Exactly my point.
Right.
I mean, they think a plate is not a container. Okay, so what did you eat on? Do you
understand that gases behave differently than solids? You do, right? So, no. Can you transport a gas with a plate? I'd be curious to see how you do that, really.
Just skip your food onto nothing and eat on nothing. Okay, guys, ready for the next question?
Yes.
Number 8. How do you have a tangent if all lines are bent thanks to refraction? Ooh.
I assume he means like optical lines or like horizon lines. Well, you can have tangent to sloped surfaces. This is extremely easy in calculus. It's just a derivative, right? There you go. A tangent to a curved surface. Very, very easy. Not difficult at all. Honestly, just shows that you have very little clue about mathematics and have never tried to get a deeper understanding of the subject. Derivatives, where I come from, are done in, we call it 7th grade, but it's because we have a very different naming system from pretty much everywhere else in the world. We call it 7th grade, but I believe it's 11th grade everywhere else in the world. So yeah, it's 11th grade maths that you do that, which is interesting that you still think it's not possible, because like the thing that I mean, if the only example that you can think of it is you have a some visual line and you say you can't put a tangent on it, this would almost be okay, right? But so many things in technology and like technology that you use every day, computers and stuff, use in some way or another, especially when it comes to how they measure the voltage and stuff like that, use tangents on bent surfaces. This is not difficult, not at all. And I'm bamboozled on how flat earthers still think that that's like a problem, where it's clearly not. Do you see how much time it took for me to look it up? And again, I'm doing all of these blind. It took me less than half a minute. This is so easy. I mean, not calculus. Calculus has some hard parts, but slopes and curved surfaces is really not a problem. Really not a problem. And if it was, could you show me how, apart from saying that you can't have, which is essentially you just saying that you can't, and that's proof, I think, in your world, I guess?
Yeah.
Retrobolt, thank you for your $2 from chat. Press 1 in chat if Professor Phil is...
For example, like, if okay, let's say that all lines, even though, like, mathematical lines are not really affected by refraction if you have them on a piece of paper or a computer like that, but that's not, I assume at least what we're talking about. How can I have a tangent on those? Well, you can look at where your zenith is. For example, your zenith always goes straight up, right? And then you just make a tangent to the zenith. It doesn't have to be perfect, for things like navigation and stuff, it just has to be good enough with a small enough error. But that's another thing the flat earthers don't understand is error measurement and how you actually measure stuff. But you know,
Ace.
nothing
I'm
new.
gonna press 2. I'm gonna press 2. The super chat retro. So the food
Come
above
on.
you, an open container like the table or whatever, the gas would just hit it and bounce off to its next place to seek more collisions. So if it hits off the table and goes in the sky and it has nothing to bounce back off, how is it going to come back?
Gravity.
Okay, it
Gas
seems the Globers
has
don't
mass.
understand what a tangent is. A
I don't
tangent
think you
is a
understand
straight
how you
line
can have the
that-
tangent.
Yeah, that touches a point on a curve.
That is correct.
Now, you guys, and by the way, this tangent would be your Earth curve, your horizon, physicality.
Sure.
Now,
Fine.
if you have a bent tangent, that would be taking what a tangent is away.
No, the
Because
tangent is a mathematical construct. It is not affected by things like refraction. It's what we make of it, right? We're not literally putting a tangent there because that's not how you do it. You just look at it's how do I put it? It's geometrically it's a tangent that we imagine to be there, and we can make measurements from this. I guess you could call it a pseudo tangent or a imagined tangent and things like that. Just because it's not physically there doesn't mean we can't do stuff with it. If I measure, when I look out of my window, I see the wall of the across the street from the house, and there's a stone in that wall that's a bit more orange than the others. And if I want to figure out the distance from that stone to my window or something like that, I could do so with trigonometric measurements, right? That would be somewhat possible. It wouldn't be too much accurate, especially because I don't have the tools to do that, but that'd be a way to figure out how that works. And that may shock you there, Flatside. None of the lines that I use to measure that actually exist. They're not physical. And yet I get a result. That's interesting, huh?
refraction would take that straight line and bend it. So therefore you would not have a tangent, and therefore you would not have your physical horizon. All thanks to refraction.
So, two things. Do you deny that refraction exists? In which case I would like you to explain a bunch of pictures. Second question, if you don't deny refraction exists, you have the same problem on the flat Earth. So that's not really a point.
Yeah.
Nice little sound like that.
Richard G, you'll be surprised on everything they don't understand. I'm surprised they know how to tie their own shoelaces.
Says the
Unless
flat
they get their
Earther.
parents still to do that for them. Who knows? Jimmy says, why would it bend? I don't know. Maybe because that's what you claim, donkey dick geometry.
We don't. You just have a severe misunderstanding of what the globe claims. That's also why you're a flat Earther.
Remember?
So the dome is open. What?
I mean, come on.
Okay. This would be a tangent. You see that X marks
Exactly.
the horizon? That should
Do you also see how the tangent is not a physical line, but is like kind of a tool that we use for measurement?
tangent, that straight line touching at a curve. Now, if you're claiming
I don't think he understands that.
refraction, that's no longer a straight line.
Oh god, okay. Yes, light refracts. Does that mean that that's imagining a line from a place to another thus is impossible? No. Oh well, would you look at that? Dear God, how and you ask us how we tie our own shoelaces.
Bends it. So yeah, no tangents based on refraction.
Extremely
Yeah,
poor point.
it's all-
Extremely poor point. Almost to the point that I'm. If it wasn't flat side and if this was a new kind of flat earther, I would not be sure if that's a joke or not.
That very
Yeah.
This is something that I would expect from
Tony
McFlatty.
Whitcomb, thank you very much for another £10 super chat. Really appreciate it. When he says
Full.
Tony, really appreciate it. Yeah, Gord's is ace, I agree. But
Come
yeah,
on,
thanks.
next question there.
I don't think he really
3 dots, but it's
skeptical.
Went underneath.
Really, and she wasn't a random order. Sandy, good to see Sandy says, where did Noah keep his bees? In the archives. Pure Medicine
Come on.
said, doing a video on this question. Bend the line and then.
Ah, there we go.
Okay, on to the next question.
Come on.
Let's do it. Why do astronauts require snorkels in a vacuum?
Do they?
So they can wee.
Yeah.
Could you be a bit more precise there?
Do they need snorkels there?
And Mojo Shop, good to see you, says, and Noah kept the termites in a tin box.
Come on.
Everybody, come on.
Can you
Open
explain
your eyes.
a bit further? If by snorkel you mean some kind of breathing device, well, that's because there's no air up there, or like for practical purposes, no air. The pressure up in space is a few pascals, which is, you might as well say it's nothing. Also, I mentioned this earlier, I believe, I love how flat earthers use Tor. Now, I have a bachelor's in physics and in astronomy, and I'm currently doing my master's degree in both, and I've only ever heard of Tor once and used it never. It's such a funny unit, no one uses it. Apart from flat earthers, because they heard it once, and that's what flat earthers do. You hear another flat earther use it once, and suddenly, because, you know, mostly due to a lack of originality, you keep using it. Because, you know, that's what they do.
Joke.
That was just a joke. Okay. Number 10.
Oh, it's a joke. Okay, then it's fine. I'm sorry. You know, sometimes I've been told by other people that my understanding of humor in general, other people's expressions, appear to be misleading to me, and sometimes my expressions and the way I express some of my emotions are very misleading to other people. So I do apologize. There are a lot of jokes, especially from people that I'm not acquainted to talking with, that I do very much not get, and a lot of people that are not acquainted to me do not get any of my jokes. So, you know.
What do you do if there is a leak on the ISS?
You can essentially just patch it up.
Just have a leak.
Can you interesting question there for flat earthers. Could you calculate for me how much air is lost in a second or in a minute or per unit time with a leak of the ISS that's like, let's say, a millimeter in diameter or radius, whatever you want, just give me your numbers. Could you calculate that for me, and then we can talk about if it's a problem or not?
Yeah, we just improvise. We just sort of, when we let someone sticks the finger on it until we get back home. It's okay. It's all good.
You can actually do that. Okay, if I have a syringe, right? One of the I don't know if it's actually called a syringe. I'm not talking about the needle. I'm talking about the plastic thing where you pull the plunger back, right? If I take a 20 milliliter syringe, right, and I put my finger on top of it, on the top, so I seal it, and then I pull the plunger back. That's essentially the pressure that you would feel if you had a leak on the ISS and you put your finger over it. Yeah, that's or at least pretty close. Pretty close.
Madness, isn't it?
I love
Let's see,
how
what happens if there's a leak on the ISS?
he just ended this
Leaking
and
spaceship.
enters it into YouTube.
Let's see if we can find something.
Yeah, there you go. From Cody's lab. I'd recommend that video.
Oh, wait, let's just look at this. I think this one guy used.
I mean,
duct
of course,
Chris Hadfield's job just got a little tougher. The Canadian
aren't taking the Cody's lab video because in the end they might actually learn something.
commander is facing a problem on board the International Space Station. Usually, this is the kind of...
I love how he's looking at a screen to look at water that he's supposedly touching. That's called
with messing around experiments.
They say that they have no
those little white flakes are liquid ammonia floating out from part of the station's
for saying
backbone.
any
It's
of that,
coolant,
really.
vital for the power systems for those.
We saw what that happened, okay? I'm gonna do this again. Action lab, oh action lab, oh.
Do you
Too much.
understand how that's
Hey,
not
Clarks.
the same? Do you know what the pressure inside a tin can is? For carbonated beverages, the pressure inside the bottle or the can or whatever you have is around 3 bar. That's 3 times atmospheric pressure. So you have a difference, and that's how you calculate that actually. You have The pressure that's inside, that's about 3 bars. Just so you know I'm not cheating you. Pressure in carbonated hoe. I guess that's a valid. PSI is not a unit any civilized thing should use. There we go. It's between. There you go. They say it's between 2.7 and 4.7. That's higher than I knew. I know it's about 3 actually, but you can see it here. So it's about 3 bar, right? So the way you do this, flatside, and I pay attention here. The pressure here is 3 bar. The pressure outside is close to 0 bar. So the difference is 4 bar. That's 4 times the difference that you have between the ISS and the vacuum out there. You do understand that, right? I hope you do. And with that, it's 22 minutes already. I do apologize. That is a long episode. With that, I thank you very much for watching. Again, forgive my voice. I also talked a little less today. So with that, I thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, maybe consider leaving a like. And if you enjoyed it a lot, I'd greatly enjoy it if you considered subscribing, possibly. And apart from that, I thank you for watching, and yeah, have a nice day until the next time.